Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you guys how to make some delicious green chile tamales. So in case you guys want to learn how to make them, just stay tuned and I'll show you how. Alrighty guys, so let's get started with our ingredients. So for this recipe we're going to need 5 pounds of pork shoulder butt roast. Here I have an 8 pound, but after we take out the fat and the bone, we're going to be left with 5 pounds. 16 ounces of corn husk, 1 package of Maseca, make sure that it is the one for tamal. 16 ounces of lard, 1/4 cup of baking powder, 1 bunch of cilantro, 8 hatch chiles, 5 chile serranos or jalapeños, 10 green tomatillos, 1½ of a white onion, 15 garlic cloves, and salt. So these are our ingredients. Now let's get started. Alright, so first we're going to start by soaking our husk. This step is important because it's going to allow the masa to stick to our leaves better. And also take away, while you're soaking them, make sure that you take the hairs off of the leaves. So you can use whatever you have, you know. You can put them in the sink if that's better for you. Alrighty, so once we have our husk soaking, we're going to start working on our meat. Alright, so I'm just going to grab my meat, take it out of the package. And like I said, we need 5 pounds. After we clean out the meat, that's what we're left with. And then I like to grab this one because it has a bone, and the bone always adds more flavor to our meat. So now we're just going to cut it into small chunks, and we're gonna place them on a big pot. So just cut around the bone. So just like that, and we're gonna place them in a pot. See, like all this, I like to get rid of it. And just try to get as much as you can off the bone. But like I said, once it's cooked, you know, we can shred it off the bone. So don't worry if you can't get it off, you know, the first step. So this is the bone. So I'm just going to throw it in the pot with the rest of our meat. Okay. Alright, so once we have our meat all cut up, we're going to fill up our pot 3/4 with water. We're just gonna give it a quick rinse. We're going to add our whole onion and 12 garlic. And of course, your salt. So now I'm just going to cover it, and we're going to cook it medium-high heat for about 1.5 hours. Once our meat is done, we're going to start working on our chile and our masa. So for now, we're just gonna wait. Alright, so it's been about 1 hour and 30 minutes, and this is what our meat looks like. So by now, it should be almost done. It's still a little bit tough. But once it starts falling apart, that's how you're gonna know that it's done. So it's still not cooked all the way, so we're gonna leave it in there for about another, Our meat is still a little bit tough, so I'm just gonna close it and leave it in there for another 20 to 30 minutes. And meanwhile, we can start working on our chiles now. So we're going to place our chiles and tomatillos in our comal, and we're just going to roast them. So like that, by the time our meat is done, our chiles will be done as well. So I'm just going to place them on the comal, as well as our half of an onion. and our 3 garlic cloves. So just make room for your tomatillos too. And just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on your tomatillos because once they overcook, they get a bitter taste. And we don't want that. So as soon as you start seeing them turn color, make sure that you flip them over and roast the whole tomatillo. And once it's fully roasted, then we're gonna place them in our blender. And for our chiles, once our chiles are done roasting, we're gonna place them in a bag or inside foil, so like that we can let them sweat and we peel them. So we're just gonna let them roast, and then we can start working on our sauce. Okay, so now that we have all of our chiles inside the bag, we're gonna let them steam for about 10 to 15 minutes. And meanwhile, we're still waiting for our meat to be fully cooked. All right, so after 15 minutes, your meat should be done. You can get a piece and just check it and make sure. It should be very tender, and it should be easy to fall apart. It falls apart super easy. Okay, so now we're just going to take it out of the broth and let it cool down for a little bit, and then we're going to start shredding it. And you don't want to get rid of your broth because we're going to use that for our masa. And now we can move on to the next step, putting the salsa together. And then we can start shredding our meat. While we wait for our meat to cool down, we're going to start peeling our chiles. So we're going to just take all the burn out. Just clean them out and take out the seeds. So devein them. And you can do the same for the serranos. You can leave the seeds or just take them off. It depends on how spicy you want your tamales to be. You just place them in the blender. Alright, so once we have our chiles in our blender, we're going to get our cilantro. And add it in there. And we're going to add 2 cups of water. And now we're just going to blend until we have a smooth sauce. Okay, so once we have our sauce ready, we're going to set it to the side and start shredding our meat. Okay, so I'm just going to clean this side so I can throw all my my clean meat on this side. My clean meat. I mean, fat-free. So when it comes to meat, I'm very picky. So I know you can probably use a mixer, to shred it, but I like to go through my meat. So I don't like fat. So I just make sure I get rid of as much as I can. And that's what I said, 5 pounds of meat is what we need. Well, we end up with 5 pounds of meat after we clean it and get rid of the bone. You can also, try if you're not into pork, you can also try beef or chicken. It's gonna be the same process. Of course, the other meats probably take longer or less time. You can even buy, carnitas from the carniceria and just shred them and then make the sauce. And there you go. So many ways. My mom used to dislike it when I used to shred the meat. She would tell me, "Me dejas sin carne," because she likes the fat. And I used to just clean it. I'm like, "You already know, Mom. Get more than what you're supposed to." Alright, so this is the bone. So just try to get as much of the meat out, and then of course get rid of the bone. Alright, so once we have our meat all shredded, we're going to get a pot and add a little bit of oil. And we're just gonna wait for that oil to get hot enough so we can add our chile in here, or our sauce. All right, so once our oil is hot, we're going to add our sauce. And we're not going to strain it. We're just gonna add it like that. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water just so I can get the remaining sauce out of my blender. Favorite part. Okay. Now we're just going to add some salt. You don't want to add too much salt because our meat has salt already. So just add a little bit in there. And then once we add our meat, if you feel like it needs some more salt, then you can always add it. So now we're just going to let it simmer for a little bit and then we can add our meat. Alright, so after 5 minutes of your sauce simmering, we're going to add our meat. Mix it all together. Alright, so now we're just gonna let it simmer for 10 minutes and then we can start working on our masa. Alright, so now we're just going to strain our broth from our meat. And this is the juice that we're going to use for our masa. Alright, so now to make our masa, in a big bowl we're going to place our lard. And then using your mixer, we're going to break it down. So we want it to be creamy. Just keep working it until you have a very soft consistency. Alrighty. So once it's nice and smooth, like it should feel like lotion consistency, then your lard is ready. Alright, so once our lard is nice and soft, we're going to add our 1/4 cup of baking powder and our salt. I'm using 1/4 cup as well. Our broth has salt too, so I don't want to put too much salt. So 1/4 is fine. And then we're going to add our Maseca. Just mix it with your hands. So now we're just going to mix it all together until we see that our lard is nice and combined with our Maseca. So just crumble them together. Alright, so once we have mixed our lard and Maseca together, this is what it looks like. It looks like Parmesan cheese. So now we're going to add our broth. So normally I go through the whole pot of broth, but we're going to start slowly. And you want it to be, your broth to still be hot. And just mix it. So just be careful with your hands because the broth is hot. The most important step, making tamales. Alrighty guys, so after working your your masa, this is what it looks like. It should be very, very smooth. And the way you know your masa is ready is when you could test it on your hand. Grab a little amount and just rub it like that. Pretend that's like the husk. Okay? That's according to my mom. Okay. So now that we have our masa, and this is how much water I use. If you remembered, my whole pot was full, so I use about what, 3/4 of it. So now we can start working on our husks. It's like mashed potatoes. Los peditos de mi mamá. Alright, so now we're going to start working on our tamales. I'm going to get my pot ready. This one I got on Amazon. I will leave the link in the description box so you guys can check it out. Super affordable, and it's perfect for tamales. So I'm going to fill it up the bottom with water, and it tells you, you know, like how much water to put. Alright, and if you don't have a steamer, you know, a pot with a steamer, you can always do it the same way I did on my other video. I will leave it in the description box so you guys can go check it out. You guys can still do it even if you don't have this pot. Okay, so let's start working on our tamales now. Alright, so now to fill up your husk with the masa, you're going to feel for the soft spot, the soft side of the husk. Okay, so this is the rough side and then the soft side. So we're going to place 1 spoon of it and then start rubbing it outward. Now I know some people do it just halfway. For us, we always fill out the whole husk. And as you can see, your masa, see how it's going very smooth? We did a good job. So just fill up your whole husk with the masa. This is the best part of the tamal, I think so. And I know there's some tools, you know, that makes this step easy. If you have one, you can do that. For me, the spoon is easier though, to be honest, because I have a little planchita and it doesn't do it for me. Okay, so just put it, don't make it too thick. We just want the right amount of masa. Once you have it like this, your tamale is ready for the filling. Let me just put it down. Okay. So I'm going to grab 1 spoon of my meat. Now it depends on how much meat you put on your tamales. It depends on how many tamales you're gonna get out of it, okay? So me using this 5 pounds, it's a lot of tamales that we make. And then you just wanna close it like that and then get the bottom and fold it up. And that's your tamal. So that's it. Now we're just going to place it in our pot, forming a pyramid. Alright, so we're just going to place our first tamal like that in the middle of the pot, and then we're just going to go around it. So now we're just going to repeat the step until we no longer have meat. This is the perfect time if you have a little girl, start showing her now. You got it. You grab it in the middle. Okay, you could grab as much
as you want.
Okay, so just grab it in the middle like that and then start working outward. And all the leftover, it's okay, you can always put it back. You know, just go like that. Outward.
Okay, is it good?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, it's just gonna close it.
See?
Oh, jeez. Esos son los que, those are the type of tamales that you buy for $15.
Go in here. Go like that.
Natalie, close it right.
How do you do this then?
Okay, look. Let's add more meat on there.
I'm gonna do mine second one, okay? I'm gonna make it better.
Alright, so just make sure that your tamales are standing like that, and now we're just going to go around. So we're almost done. This is what they look like. Alright guys, so I have some leftover masa, and what I like to do is just add cheese and jalapenos to it. So this is your cheese. I'm using some cheese from Mexico. This is Chihuahua, but you can always use Monterey Jack. Those are my favorite. And just shred it in there and mix it all together, and then just put them inside the husk, and there you go. Very simple and super delicious. Alright guys, so once you're done with all your tamales, that's what it looks like underneath. You're going to use a leftover husk and cover them. So just kind of place them, you know, individually, one by one, and just open them and extend them just by covering the whole top of your pot. So now we're just going to put them on medium-high heat and let them steam for 2 hours. So after 2 hours, we'll check them and see how they're doing. So our pot is right here. And now we're just going to close it with the lid and let them steam for 2 hours. Alrighty, so my tamales be cooking for 2 hours and 15 minutes. By now they should be done. And the way you're going to tell, you know, once they're done fully cooking, just take one out. Just take one out and test it. So, I mean, right now, because they're still super hot, they're gonna be a little bit wet. But give it a few minutes just to see that they're fully cooked once they get firm. So we're just gonna wait for them to get firm, and then, you know, like that, you're gonna know that they are fully cooked, and you can turn off your pot of tamales. I'm excited. It smells so good in here. It smells like Christmas. Alright guys, so after letting your tamales cool down for a few minutes, they should be super easy to fall apart out of the husk. Look at that. Beauty. See? And that's why it's important to make sure that your masa is, you know, done well, and also to place it on the right side of the husk. So like that, your tamal could fall off super easy. This is like, oh, my favorite part. See? This is my favorite. Okay, so now we are ready to enjoy our delicious tamales. Alright guys, and now for the best part.
The taste test.
Yes, so we are ready. We've been waiting a very long time now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Well, let me grab the carnita. Okay, ready? Cheers. We're missing the Coke. You cannot have tamales without Coke. Super delicious. Everything is perfect. Simply delicious. You ready to go sit down and enjoy it? And they're not hot. You know, Giovanni will be so honest about that. They're not hot. They're perfect, you know, to feed your kids. Your kids will also enjoy them. So this is perfect. Let's go. Alrighty guys, and there you have it. Super easy and delicious green chile tamales. I hope you guys had enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. And if you recreate this recipe, please don't forget to tag me on my social medias. And also, if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button so you guys can be part of our family. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Eres perfecta.